Welcome back to another first impression, this time for the anime. So I am an inept villainess. Synopsis on any list. As maidens from the 5 clans battle for the crown prince's heart, jealous Keiketsu uses forbidden magic to swap bodies with the beloved Rin. Switching places does not guarantee happiness for Keiketsu, with her new body's ill health leaving her hanging on the verge of death. Meanwhile, Rin, now wearing the face of a scorned outcast, must answer for Keiketsu's crimes in a dangerous trial. The unlikely pair become increasingly entangled in each other's lives, and they will need to work together to survive after discovering the dark conspiracies brewing beneath the palace's genial surface. To confront the deadly threats lurking in the shadows, Rin must embrace her new identity and defy the expectations of the court's inept villainess. Oh boy, a lot going on. So in the show we have the Crown Prince and the 5 clans each have a maiden, and they try to win the Crown Prince's heart as is described. Now our main character is called Rin. You see Rin is in the front, that is her right now. And Keiketsu is the one on the left. However, this is after they swapped bodies. Now Rin was initially the one in the white, and Keiketsu was in the red. But they switched bodies, and now Rin, our main character, is the one in the red. That is the important part. Rin, main character in red, Keiketsu in white. Now Keiketsu, before she swapped the body, she behaved very villainous-like. She was not a good person, and she was jealous of Rin. That is why she used the forbidden magic to swap bodies. That is the setup. Now Rin has to answer for the crimes that Keiketsu has committed, and that is where we stand. We get punished, we get more or less outcast for a specific amount of time, it seems like, and we are living our life. Now our main character, Rin, her original body, as is described here as well, had ill health. She would be sick a lot of times, frequently, and with a high fever. However, this new body is very healthy. That is why Rin is somewhat happy about having this new body that doesn't have to stay in bed for a prolonged period of time. And generally, Rin, our main character, is in the first 3 episodes. That is what I can only talk about. She's very happy-go-lucky. She's very nice. From what we can see, she's very forgiving. She's not stupid. She has a couple tricks up her sleeve, but she is very forgiving from what we can see, and she seems pretty nice. At least that is what we can tell from the first 3 episodes. Now, I personally would have liked a little bit more intrigue, and our main character Rin, maybe becoming a little bit more of a manipulator and trying to climb her way back or get revenge. But it seems like that is not where we are going. Now, I could be wrong. It's only the first 3 episodes. That is why a first impression. But I would have liked more intrigue. Now, naturally, there are intrigues because the setup reminds me a lot of like Apothecary Diaries, or like, I guess, a Chinese emperor, where you have like the emperor, you have all these potential concubines, and naturally everyone wants to be the number one, because that is where you are then going to be more likely to get the crown prince, which makes you naturally the empress. So it there is intrigue, and we do see in the first 3 episodes that there are machinations going on. Now, the synopsis is telling us about some kind of dark conspiracies. We have not seen anything in the first 3 episodes of that regarding that dark conspiracy, so I have no idea what the synopsis is talking about. But we have seen essentially our main character Rayrin is getting accustomed to her new body, is living a pretty nice life, at least in her viewpoint, because she's not going to be sick. And Kaiketsu, who hoped that by swapping bodies she's going to be next to the crown prince, she's going to have a pretty easy life, finds out that the swap may not have been too good of an idea. But that is where we sit. It feels like the first 3 episodes are more setup. Normally it's like the first episode is a big setup, and for the main story, sure, or the main groundwork, but the first 3 episodes feel like we are setting up a little bit more, like the different groups and different clans, or what we are going to fight against or act against, which people we can call allies. Because again, there is stuff happening that makes me feel like the first 3 episodes are just the beginning, and it could get very interesting if we go more of the intrigue and trying to forge alliances and enemies, but we will have to see. Now I do have a couple pictures here so we can see a little bit of the art style. I really like the art style. I do like the animation. It's solid animation. I like the world itself, the whole idea of like the palace and these different groups that may or may not fight against each other. Again, if there's more intrigue, that is exactly what I would like, but we will have to see. I feel like there's a lot of potential that could come from this. We don't really have much else. Here we have our 2 characters again being happy. Rayrin being happy with the new body. So far enjoyable, but I would have liked more intrigue. Let's see what other people thought. AniList has it at 75%. My anime list at 7.8 with 4,000 users. That is a pretty solid rating. Not as many people are giving it a rating right now, but the rating itself is close to an 8. That is pretty good. For me, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I can see potentially an 8 or even a 9 if we go really hard on like intrigue and alliances inside the palace and little territorial fights essentially around the prince. But the main character is a very forgiving, at least from the first 3 episodes. If that is changing, more intrigue, more interesting stuff inside the palace, and the main character showing a little bit of a dark side, not going totally dark, but a little bit, I can definitely see this going up a couple steps. But at the moment, I'm unsure.